To understand Lisbon's rise, we must first understand the machinery beneath its rooftops. First, the river and the sea. Lisbon is a maritime instrument. Its harbor makes it a gateway, its tides a clock. The Tagus does not merely border the city, it trains it toward outward movement, toward fleets, toward risk. Second, the crown and the bureaucracy. Over time, Lisbon becomes a seat of administration, where decisions made in rooms of ink and wax ripple outward into villages, ports, and colonies. This concentration of power, however, brought a chilling capacity for control. In 1496 and 1497, the city's social fabric suffered a massive spiritual rupture. King Manuel I, seeking political union with Spain, ordered the forced conversion of all Jews in Portugal. Thousands were dragged to the font, creating the new Christian class, a people living between two worlds, marked by suspicion and state-mandated faith. The tension broke violently in 1506. Outside St. Dominic's Church, a spark of religious fervor turned into the Lisbon massacre. For 3 days, the Easter slaughter turned the streets into a hunting ground as thousands of new Christians were killed. It is a moment of dark spirituality, a reminder that when a city defines its identity through exclusion, the result is a stain that stone cannot forget. And fifth, an invisible system, the city's relationship to uncertainty. Lisbon lives with danger as a neighbor. Fire is always possible in a dense wooden city. Disease arrives with ships. In 1569, the Great Plague struck with the force of a hidden army, killing a third of the population. The city's response was a desperate reach for the divine. The Church of São Roque became a focal point for survivors, its later incredible gold interiors serving as a vault for the city's gratitude and its fear. Step forward into the age when Lisbon's name begins to travel farther than its citizens ever will. The city's riverfront changes. More ships, larger hulls, exotic cargoes, new smells in the markets, spices that sting the nose, woods that release resinous sweetness, strange fruits that seem like rumors made edible. Money moves faster, so does ambition. Lisbon becomes an Atlantic nerve center. This is one of the civilizational pivots of early modern history, the shift from a Europe oriented toward the Mediterranean to a Europe oriented toward the ocean. This AI reconstruction is based on historical records, ancient drawings, and preserved maps, carefully reimagined to bring lost cities back to life with modern technology. As for me, I have always been here, watching, witnessing, because I am Professor Kronos, a silent observer of time and all that has unfolded within it. In that shift, Lisbon is not merely a participant, it is a stage. Wealth versus suffering, beauty versus decay, power versus vulnerability. And still, spiritual life intensifies rather than recedes. Great churches rise. Processions become grander. The city gives thanks for deliverance at sea, for victories, for harvests, for gold. Gratitude and anxiety march side by side, because every sailor knows the ocean gives and the ocean takes. By the early 18th century, Lisbon stands at a peak of confidence. Brazil's gold flows into the city and turns into architecture, ceremony, and consumption. The riverfront gleams with royal presence. The Ribeira Palace sits close to the water, a symbol of power facing the element that fuels it. The city is loud, crowded, alive. Move through the districts. Near the port, laborers carry the weight of the empire on their backs. In central quarters, craftsmen build and repair the material culture of a capital. On the hills, churches and convents dominate the skyline. Bells are everywhere, marking time, warning of danger, calling the faithful toward an ordered universe. But beneath the glitter, the city remains physically vulnerable. Buildings rise tall without understanding of seismic threat. Streets are narrow, packed, flammable. The very density that makes Lisbon feel powerful also makes it susceptible to cascading collapse. Then the balance broke. Morning and a mild autumn brightness on the Tagus. It begins with a jolt, sharp, disorienting, followed by a deeper rolling that turns walls into unstable water. Stone fractures with a sound like thunder trapped indoors. Floors heave. Roof tiles rain down. Inside churches, chandeliers swing violently, and the air fills with dust so thick it blots out faces. People run. They flood toward the river where the air feels wider. But the river is changing. The water pulls back, retreating unnaturally, exposing riverbed and debris. A sudden silence where there should be movement. Then comes the wave. Not a poetic wave. A violent, crushing wall of water that charges into the open riverfront and into the crowded mass of survivors. It lifts boats, slams them into stone, tears people away. And fire arrives, born from overturned candles and broken hearths. Smoke turns noon into dusk. The smell is unforgettable. The oily heat of a city consuming itself. In the aftermath, bodies lie under stone. Survivors wander in shock. Lisbon has become a ruin in a single morning. What followed changed everything. Disaster creates two emergencies at once, the physical and the spiritual. Some call it punishment, some call it mystery. The earthquake does not only break buildings, it breaks assumptions. And yet, amid fear and rumor, something else emerges. Administration as survival. The Marqués de Pombal steps forward with a logic as hard as stone. He acts to stabilize the city, to control fires, prevent looting, bury the dead, restore food supplies, and impose order. In the wake of cosmic chaos, he offers a human system, disciplined, centralized, unflinching. Lisbon becomes a laboratory of modern crisis management, forged in smoke and screams. This is a contrast that defines the city's history. The mystical hunger for meaning and the bureaucratic hunger for control. Both are real. Both shape the rebuilding. Now we walk again, but through a different Lisbon. The old medieval tangle does not return. Instead, a new geometry is imposed. Straighter streets, broader avenues, rational blocks. The Baixa becomes a statement in stone that order can be designed. Engineering intended to resist future quakes, wooden frameworks within walls, becomes an argument with nature. Some mourn what is lost, the ancient irregularity. Others see opportunity. Power consolidates. The Enlightenment's confidence in reason finds a street plan, but the spiritual dimension does not vanish. A city can be rational and haunted at the same time. To understand Lisbon is to understand a broader European transformation. The earthquake forced elites and ordinary people alike to confront a terrifying question. If nature can erase sanctuaries in minutes, where does certainty live? In faith? In reason? In the state? In community? Lisbon's answer was not singular. It was layered. It was human. And that is why this story belongs to the present. Lisbon teaches that history is not only made by kings and ships and gold. Sometimes it is made by silence before a wave, and the choice, afterward, to rebuild with trembling hands and stubborn hope. The city endures because it learned that even certainty is mortal.